I don't think it would have been possible for me to uproot and go to seminary at 50 years old. That wasn't going to happen. But it was possible for me to spend my evenings studying, reading, and taking these classes and do the SMP program.
So when we planted Oikos, one of our goals was that we would plant another church before we were in existence for 3 years. So that was obviously on my mindset of how do we get this done? And we were a small church. We weren't going to be able to just get someone out of the seminary and pay a full-time salary. We started looking into what are the ways that we could raise up leaders from within. Frank Hart showed up and wanted to plant a church. And I had known Frank, from many years before, doing some work with him, and both at Cross Point and then in other venues that around here in Houston. And I've always thought that Frank was a mature and deeply spiritual, very connected to Jesus. And so I had no doubts that he could plant a church. What we needed to figure out is how could we make a way for the church to allow him to plant a church? And that was the question as we sat down and started contemplating what are the routes. And for Frank, he needed to have a route that kept him here in Houston area in Katy. And so that kind of eliminated the on-campus MDiv route for him. So we looked at SMP, and the district was, helpful in allowing us to kind of pursue that route and encouraging us as well as we figured out how is this going to work.
I really enjoyed the SMP program a lot. My biggest question going into it was going to boil down to how LCMS Lutheran am I? I was Anglican for 10 or 11 years. Doctrinally, how well am I going to fit into this organization? But what I found in the SMP program is I was very confessional, that the more I dug into the book of Concord, the more I was absolutely born to be an LCMS Lutheran. There's no doubt about this. But one of the best things about the SMP program is it's on-the-job training. So you're doing ministry at the same time that you're learning about ministry. So you're immediately able to put things into practice that you're learning in the classroom. And then you also have a cohort of people who are doing the same thing. So you're constantly being able to bounce ideas off of these people that you're going through this whole journey with.
I think one of the great things about the SMP program, especially at this point in my life and in my career, is the fact that I'm starting the SMP program at the same time we're starting a new church. So not only will I be growing in the ministry as far as what God is wanting me to do, and also learning about the aspects of the faith, but the church will be growing. I'll be able to relate those things that I'm learning on a week-by-week basis to the church that I'm attempting to grow. Not only will I be studying in class, but I will be able to make live application as far as trying to get the church to grow, getting the church to understand the scriptures, getting the church to follow Christ as well. And it's encouraging and it's enlightening, because guess what? You're journeying with Jesus. There's an ordained minister that is your mentor that will be hand in hand with you through the process. That appealed to me very much because in a lot of situations in ministry, you don't have anyone to guide you. You're making your own roadmap, but being able to have someone that can guide you and go with you, that's been through the program, that have been through those footsteps, then you are basically being guided in the right way to prevent from any pitfalls, false doctrine, and just any informational questions that you may have along the way.
It's a really strong program, especially for guys who feel an internal call to ministry. We need pastors. We are short on pastors. There are not guys lining up around the block, young guys, ready to move to St. Louis or Fort Wayne and go into seminary to be pastors. We need guys who might want to take a second or third career take on being a pastor, serving in their community. And a lot of times those guys have too deep of roots to disrupt their life, move everything to St. Louis. So this is a far better option for them to go from elder, deacon, to a pastoral role in their community. It seems to me that the future of the church isn't going to look like the current church. It's going to have to adapt. It's going to have to change. And that probably means that the way we train our pastors is also going to have to adapt and change.